Eagle FC 46, Lee versus Sanchez, full card prediction. We got Diego Sanchez, the first Ultimate Fighter winner from all the way back in 2004, fighting Aliskerov, John Rafferty, and then Josh Koscheck right there, beating so many other guys. He beat Nick Diaz, Kenny Florian, he beat Joe Stevenson, Clay Guida, let's see, Takanori Gomi, Jim Miller, Marcin Hell, Mickey Gall, Michel, but he's beaten a lot of guys throughout his UFC career, and he's fought beasts as well. Michael Chiesa is on there, got Ale Quinta title challenger, Gilbert Melendez, BJ Penn, Jake Ellenberger, Josh Koscheck. He's fought some legit guys, but he's very old at this point in his career. How old is he right now? Maybe like 39, 40 years old? Yeah, he's 40 years old right now, fighting Kevin Lee in the main event, and Kevin is only 30, 31 years old. So that's the main event. We got the co-main event, Rizvan Kuniev, a Dana White's Contender Series fighter, fighting Anthony Hamilton for the Eagle FC heavyweight belt. We got Ricky Bandejas, Bellator veteran, fighting Ray Borg, a UFC veteran, Henderson Ferreira, and Zach Jasola. Henderson actually beat the PFL welterweight champion in Ray Cooper III. We got UFC veteran Impa and future UFC fighter Raimond Magomedaliev. Got Akhmed Aliev, Darrell Horcher. Darrell fought Habib Nurmagomedov. Akhmed is a PFL fighter. Ikram Aliskerov only losing to Hamzat Chimaev, fighting Nah-shon Burrell, who has beaten some really legit guys throughout his years. He beat Chris Curtis, who's doing very good in the UFC. He also beat, who was the other guy I was looking at? He fought Chris Curtis again down here. He fought Steve Wonderboy Thompson, Andre Koreshka, Bellator champion, Michael Page, a Bellator title contender, Lyman Good, UFC fighter. He fought Albert Tumenov. He's fought so many legit guys over there, and he's fighting a guy that only lost to a Hamzat Chimaev in Ikram Aliskerov. We got Irwin Rivera, UFC veteran, fighting Firdavs Khasanov, who's on a pretty big losing streak. Archie Colgan and Dylan Mantello. Reggie Peña, Ronny Marks, a Bellator fighter. Tyler Ray and Thomas Webb. Sitik, Muduev, and Caio, Uruguay. And Ryder, Newman, and Manny, Walo. So we got a lot of UFC, Bellator veterans, PFL veterans. All the UFC guys, Ryder Newman, Ultimate Fighter. Irwin Rivera, UFC fighter. I believe Nah-shon Burrell was UFC fighter as well. Darrell Horcher, UFC. Impa UFC. Ray Borg, UFC. Diego Sanchez, UFC. Kevin Lee, UFC. You can tell there's a lot of UFC guys. The Bellator guys. Ricky Bandejas. It would be, where's the other one at? Ronnie Marks, I believe. No, Ryder Newman was when it was in the UFC. And then the PFL would just be Ahmed Aliev. So we got a lot of major guys on this Eagle FC 46 fight card. But as usual, we're doing our full card prediction. If you guys want to watch this card, you got to download the Flex app. I think it's FLX Cast on the App Store. If you want to watch all of these fights happening on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, that's what you got to go download. But yeah, it's going to be a good card. We're going to get into our predictions right now as we go on to the middleweight division. Manny Walo and Ryder Newman in the middleweight division. Ryder Newman, solid wrestler. He's got some good power in his hands as well, with a lot of knockout wins on his record. First round knockout win in 42 seconds, and then another first round knockout win in 22 seconds. A few decision wins, and then losing to Tresean Gore, an absolute beast in the UFC. And then Josh Kinlan, another very solid fighter that is inside of the UFC. He's a solid wrestler and grappler, mainly going out there to take you down, look for the rear naked choke submission, or get the knockout on the feet when he is pressuring you. But he's fighting a guy in Manny Walo, who's a veteran of the game. He's 35 years old at the time of this recording, and he's very legit. He beat Jeremiah Wells in 2016. That's a really impressive win right there. And then he's got a lot of other solid wins. He's got a lot of decision wins right there, which leads me to believe that this fight is going to be a decision, but It should be a good one. Ryder Newman, again, needs to go out there, wrestle, and grapple to that dominant decision. But Manny Walo, from the film that I've watched of him, his takedown defense is honestly really solid. Yeah, the last time he fought was about 2.5 years ago, but I like his takedown defense. I do like his striking. He's got a really good left hook, and as you're coming in on him, he does tend to catch his opponent with that overhand right. He's got good leg kicks on the inside, so I think the striking advantage definitely is going to go Manny Walo. He's more powerful, he's faster, he's more explosive. I believe he's gonna have the reach advantage, but I'm not entirely sure about that one. And overall, he's the better fighter right here. It could go either way. I'm expecting a lot of predictions to be going for Ryder Newman because he's a UFC Ultimate Fighter veteran, but it's a self-explanatory one. I think Manny Walo outstrikes Ryder Newman on the feet, kind of like Trayshawn Gordon, not as dominantly, but ends up winning the fight by a unanimous decision. Caio, Uruguai, and Sitik Muduev in the featherweight division, if I'm saying that last name correctly. Sitik, not too much to go off of him. I mean, his fight before the Ayadi Majdedin fight in Eagle FC was inside CFFC. I was able to watch CFFC fight and the Eagle FC fight, but all of these WLF war fights, I could not find a single one of those fights, to be quite honest with you. But we have a little bit to go off of, and what I've seen, he's pretty average everywhere. Doesn't have the best cardio. He's got okay volume, okay power, okay wrestling, okay grappling. Everywhere you look at Sitik Muduev, he's really not that good anywhere. He's just an average fighter pretty much wherever the fight does go, whereas Caio Uruguay is definitely going to have the advantage in terms of striking. He's 28 years old. He was on a pretty big losing streak, but against legit fighters. I mean, Jason Suarez, an undefeated PFL fighter right now. He's 14-0. Was supposed to fight in the PFL against Lance Palmer and Movlid Khaibulaev. The guy beat Danny Chavez, who's in the UFC, and then plenty of other guys as well. He only lost to him. Timothy Tivius, who is an LFA veteran. I believe he fought for the belt against Javier Garcia right here. I'm pretty sure if I'm getting that one correctly. No, it was not for the belt right there, but it's an LFA fighter nonetheless, a pretty solid opponent there. And then the other one was Kyle Bochniak. These are three very legit guys. A UFC fighter that went all the way with Zabit Magomedsharipov, got a split decision with Hakeem Dawodu, and undefeated Jason Suarez. I mean, the competition that Caio Uruguay is losing to is very, very solid. I think he's going to have the much better striking. His kickboxing was very good in that Kyle Bochniak fight. I think he's going to kick at range, jab, and 1-2, and he's going to win the fight by a 30-27 unanimous decision, just using the striking and winning this fight. Thomas Webb and Tyler Ray in the welterweight division. Tyler Ray is a wrestler, grappler at heart. He's just going out there trying to take you down over and over and over again, just trying to grapple you and wrestle you for the full 3 rounds and possibly even get that finish. He's got a few on his record, submitting Austin Jones by a submission, submitting Josh Streaker by a submission, Sam Garrett by submission, Seth Bass by TKO, and Ben Simmons, not the basketball Ben Simmons, by submission as well. The only way he's lost fights have been fluke submission against JP St. Louis. He just caught the guillotine, and that happens every now and then. If you're a wrestler, you're gonna walk right into a guillotine every now and then. And then the other one was Steve Jones, who's a very, very solid guy over there in the LFA, and has only lost to a UFC Dana White Contender Series guy in Nikola Verethenikov and Chris Brown in the main event. So the guys he's losing to as well aren't really that bad. He's a really solid wrestler, really, really good grappler. Thomas Webb being 38 years old, last fighting 2.5 years ago. Not too much to go off from him. He does have a guillotine on his record, so you never know. Maybe he gets another one of those. He did beat Ray Charijo a while ago, but it should be a dominant win. Tyler Ray should go out there, out wrestle, out grapple, and finish him on the ground. Tyler Ray, submission or TKO in the first or second rounds. Reggie Peña and Ronny Marks in the light heavyweight division. 33, almost 34 years old, and then 38, almost 39 years old. So I've noticed this. I mean, come on, man. This dude is not a light heavyweight fighter. He is not a heavyweight fighter by any means. if you look at his last few fights that he's had over there in Fierce FC, over there in V3 Fight 61, whatever organization this man has been fighting in, he's not been fighting in the light heavyweight division too often. He was fighting in the middleweight division a while back, a few years ago, and the welterweight division a while back, a few years ago. I don't think he's going to be as big as Ronny Marks. I mean, yeah, his last fight was in the light heavyweight division, but as I was watching that fight, he looked very small for a light heavyweight fighter. Ronny Marks is going to be significantly bigger, significantly stronger, and he's going to have the power advantage as well as the wrestling advantage. The only way I can really see Reggie Peña going out there and pulling off the victory is if he can take the fight down and get a submission. He's beaten some solid guys, like Saba Homasi there by second round knockout, John Salter by second round submission, losing to some solid guys as well. But if he's gonna win, he really needs to take this fight down and look for the submission like he's done many times in the past, getting 6 submissions and 7 knockouts. But taking down a guy like Ronny Marks, I mean, Ronny Marks training at Extreme Couture, his takedowns, his wrestling are very solid. I do not see Reggie Peña being able to take down Ronny Marks. I see if the fight does go to the ground, it's going to be Ronny Marks actually initiating the wrestling and grappling. And if there is no wrestling and grappling, that even further makes me believe that Ronny Marks is going to win the fight, because he's the much more powerful guy, and he's just the much stronger guy on the feet as well. So my prediction right here for this Eagle FC light heavyweight division is not going to be Peña by knockout like a lot of people are saying, but instead it's going to be Ronny Marquez by knockout. I think Reggie Peña is going to be looking to get the fight to the ground, looking for that submission, and he's going to walk in right into a big shot from Ronny Marquez, and he's going to get knocked out. But it's a good fight. I can see it definitely going either way. They're both very powerful. They're both finishers, so I can really not see this fight going to a decision. But Ronny Marks by knockout in the first or second rounds. Archie Colgan and Dylan Mantello in the catchweight division of 160 pounds. Dylan Mantello, all 4 wins. A lot of them are coming by decision or on the ground by ground upon TKO or by submission. Very clear if Dylan Mantello is going to win the fight, it's going to be by a submission. I don't see him having too much of a striking advantage here. He's definitely not going to have the wrestling advantage over Archie Colgan as he was an NCAA wrestler, a high school wrestler as well. He's a very legit wrestler. Going out there, getting a slam TKO on Ben Simmons, a first round submission win, third round knockout, first round knockout, and first round knockout. All of them due to ground and pound and on the ground. So if Dylan Mantello is going to win the fight, he needs to just go crazy on the feet looking for the knockout, or he needs to let Archie Colgan take him down and look for an armbar, look for a triangle, look for a guillotine or something like that. But come on, most likely the logical approach to this fight is Archie Colgan taking the fight down over and over again and dominating Dylan Mantello on the ground to a unanimous decision or a finish, because all of his wins are finishes, but Dylan Mantello has never been finished in his professional MMA career. Very tough on decision or finish. I'm gonna go submission Archie Colgan in the first or second round. Really good fight in the 160 catchweight division. Irwin Rivera and Firdavs Khasanov in the bantamweight division. It might be Firdavs Khasanov in the bantamweight division, but it's going to be a solid fight here. Firdavs, he's on a pretty bad losing streak, losing to Islam Dulatov by unanimous decision, Rodrigo Praya by knockout, Nurbek Bolatekov by submission, and then losing to Sean Bunch by unanimous decision. He is younger. He is not as experienced as Irwin Rivera. He has not fought in the UFC like Irwin Rivera did to beat Ali Al-Casey and then lose to Giga Chikadze and Andre Ewell. But overall, we know exactly where both guys need this fight to be. Khasanov needs the fight to go to the ground. He needs to use some wrestling and grappling, although his wrestling and grappling really didn't look all too good in the last fight against Sean Bunch, but that's the only way you're going to be Irwin Rivera here, is either to be a very tall, lengthy kickboxer like Giga Chikadze and Andre Ewell were to beat him, or you need to out-wrestle and out-grapple him. I don't think he's going to do either of those two things. I think the fight stays on the feet, and Irwin Rivera, with the striking advantage, outstrikes Firdavs Khasanov for 3 straight rounds. I don't see a knockout here, but I see a unanimous decision. Irwin Rivera by a 29-28 unanimous decision. Ikram, Aliskerov, and Nah-shon Burrell in the middleweight division. If you guys remember the name Ikram Aliskerov, you know exactly who that only loss is to 2 years and 10 months ago, to none other than Khamzat Chimaev, Boris Chimaev, the number 11 ranked UFC welterweight in the world. Before that, he was 8-0, undefeated, getting knockout wins over and over and over again, only getting decision wins against a couple of guys in that early part of his career. He's got 4 knockouts, 4 submissions, and then 2 decision wins. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, beating Diego Gonzalez by knockout, Denis Tolinin by submission, Kimura, and then Miro Djokovic by Kimura submission. He's fighting this Nah-shon Burrell, a veteran of the game. He's not really that old. You see the record, 19 wins, 11 losses. You might think he's like 35, 36 years old, but he's only 32 years old, which is a very surprising. He's beaten some solid guys. Moses Marietta by knockout right there. He beat Ketak Aliev. I believe that's the guy that's finger actually popped off in the fight with Devin Gadeo right there. Absolutely insane. I still can't believe that it happened in the fight where his finger literally popped off. He beat Kyle Stewart in the main event of CFFC 102. He was on a pretty big losing streak right there. And if you look at all the guys that he's losing to right there in that little streak, Albert Tumena, very solid wrestler and grappler. The other guys right there as well, Arbi Aguev, solid wrestler and grappler. Beslan Isayev, solid wrestler and grappler. A lot of these guys are really looking to take you down and dominate you there. That's kind of what they did. They were all able to get decision wins on him. Ikram Aliskerov, an even better wrestler and grappler, and he can definitely keep the fight even in terms of the striking. In Khamzat Chimaev fight, he did look very solid against him until that uppercut got him knocked out. But Ikram, he's a solid striker as well, should keep it very even on the feet, and with that wrestling and grappling advantage, should be able to take the fight down every now and then and control Nah-shon Burrell for 3 straight rounds. I don't expect the finish here because Nah-shon Burrell, he's a very tough guy, has not been finished I believe in the last like 5-6 years, maybe even more than that, since the Lyman Good fight back in 2015, only getting finished by Chris Bang way back in 2012. Andre Koreshkov, Bellator champion, and then Lyman Good. So I see the fight going all the way. I got Ikram Aliskerov by unanimous decision. Magomedaliev and Darrell Horcher in the lightweight division, 32 years old and then 34 years old. Again, Darrell Horcher, you guys already know exactly who Darrell Horcher is, as he stepped in on super short notice against Khabib Nurmagomedov. Of course, you know, he got TKO'd in the second round, obviously, but he survived, and he looked really good in that first round as well. He's a solid guy, beating some really solid guys in his career as well. Only lost to UFC level opponents. Oliver Merceri, who was in the UFC, Roosevelt Roberts was in the UFC, Scott Holtzman, a very solid guy, Khabib Nurmagomedov, another solid guy, Felipe Nover, who I also believe fought inside the UFC. I think so, yeah, against Zubair Tukhugov, Henan Barao, and then Ricky Glenn. So he's only losing to solid guys in his career. Now he's fighting yet another solid guy in Akhmed Aliev. Akhmed, very good wrestling, very good grappling. The kickboxing is also very solid, as you saw in the Magomed Sagid Ali Bekov fight, getting a 3rd round spinning back kick knockout win. Absolutely insane. A head kick knockout win, liver kick knockout win, the punch in the body knockout win. I mean, he is such a well-rounded guy, even beating Zubair Tukhugov, who's in the UFC right now. He's definitely UFC caliber in my opinion. He's only lost to other UFC caliber guys, Chris Wade, Natan Schultz, and then Loic Radzhabov in his career. I believe it's going to be pretty much a domination. I'd like to see Darrell Horcher win at this stage in his career, but Akhmed is the better wrestler, he's the better striker, he's the better kicker. Should be a domination. I'm going to go Akhmed Aliev by decision. There's a chance he could get a knockout. I definitely think there's a chance. But he's a very tough guy. I mean, he didn't get finished against Oliver Merceri about 6 months ago. So I think the fight goes all the way. Akhmed Aliev by a unanimous decision. Raimond Magomedaliev and Impa in the welterweight division. 9 wins, 1 loss, and 9 wins and 2 losses. The only losses for Impa coming to Joaquin Buckley in the craziest knockout ever. UFC, PFL, Bellator, Eagle FC, it doesn't matter. That was the craziest knockout of all time. He did lose that fight, but he was actually winning the fight beforehand. He did beat Sasha Palatnikov by submission, which was a very solid win, and then he fought Carlson Harris, then he got knocked out by him. But both of those guys, Joaquin Buckley, probably going to be fighting in a ranked opponent very soon in the UFC middleweight division. Carlson Harris, a guy that in the UFC has only lost to Shavkat Rakhmonov, so he's losing to legit opponents inside of the UFC, and now he's going to be fighting another legit guy in Raimond Magomedaliev, who's taller, who's lengthier, who's fought pretty good competition as well, only losing at James Nakashima by unanimous decision, beating a lot of guys by finish. I mean, you got the submission win against 12-1 at Joey Perotti, the first round knockout win on Edson Marquez, the decision win on Tyler McGuire, and then that first round TKO on Anthony Njokuani. In Magazangana, he's shown some solid wrestling and grappling in his career, but come on, Raimond Magomedaliev is going to have way better wrestling and grappling. The striking is going to be very 50-50. I don't expect a finish here from either guy. I know Impa has been knocked out twice, but I think Raimond Magomedaliev is just going to outstrike him on the feet very slightly, just land a little bit more volume, mix in the takedowns, and win the fight by a 30-27 decision. Really good fight in the Eagle FC welterweight division. Henderson Ferreira and Zach Jusola in the super lightweight division. The first ever super lightweight fight in MMA history. The second ever fight is going to be that main event with Kevin Lee and Diego Sanchez. But this fight here, Henderson Ferreira, Zach Jusola, is very self-explanatory. Henderson Ferreira has beaten Ray Cooper III, who's a PFL champion over there. Only lost to Ray Cooper III and David Machado, two guys that are doing absolutely amazing over there inside of the PFL. David Machado lost to only Ray Cooper III, Sadie Boy C, Diego Lima, Oliver Auburn Merceri, Diego Lima, and then Jing Lian Lee right there. So he's losing to solid opponents as well. The very solid striker, he's the better wrestler, he's the better grappler, he's the better striker. I mean, wherever you look at the fight between Zach Jusolo and then of course Henderson Ferreira, Henderson's literally better everywhere. He has amazing power, getting a lot of knockout wins in his career. The grappling, I mean, maybe he doesn't have like the finishing ability on the ground, but it doesn't really matter. Zach Jusola is not a good wrestler or grappler either. His striking really isn't that good. Coming off a knockout loss, pretty easy prediction. Henderson Ferreira by knockout in the first or second round. Solid fight in the super lightweight division. Ray Borg and Ricky Bandejas in the bantamweight division. 28 years old and 30 years old. That is still crazy to me that Ray Borg at this stage in his MMA career, he is still only 28 years old. Absolutely insane. He's very small, not really that tall of a fighter, but he's a UFC veteran. He beat Rogerio Bontorin, a ranked UFC bantamweight, or maybe ranked UFC flyweight. I'm not too sure. Jussier Formiga, Luis Smolka, he beat Gianni Herrera. A lot of these guys aren't really too well known, but his only losses recently to Ricky Simone and then Casey Kenny. Very solid guys in that UFC bantamweight division, both of whom I think are ranked in the bantamweight division. Maybe Casey Kenny's right outside of the rankings, but he was cut from the UFC just because a lot of cancellations in his fights. But again, you got to look at the height and reach here. Ricky Bandejas, 6 inches taller and a 7-inch reach advantage. You would think that'd be a good advantage for Ricky Bandejas, but Ray Borg has a lot of experience against tall, lengthy guys, fighting Cody Gibson, who had an even longer reach and who was even taller than Ricky Bandejas. So again, I don't see the height, I don't see the reach, any of that type of stuff really playing too big of a factor here, because even in that fight with Cody Gibson, his striking still was very solid in that fight. Ricky Bandejas, he's lost to very legit guys. He's 15-6 in his MMA career, going out there knocking out James Gallagher in the first round. That was a really solid win, only losing to Juan Archuleta, former champion, Patchy Mix, title contender right there. Then he got 2 knockout wins in a row, then lost to another champion champion in Sergio Pettis and another title challenger in Leandro Higo. He's losing a beast over there inside of Bellator. He's losing to beast over there inside of Bellator. I will keep on saying it. And he's beating beast. Merab Dvalishvili, unanimous decision. Tony Gravely by rear naked choke submission. Miguel Restrepo by a unanimous decision. He's beating so many solid guys. Maybe Miguel's not the best guy to be looking at there, but come on, look at the list right there. We got James Gallagher, we got Tony Gravely, and then we got Merab Dvalishvili, and he beat him by a unanimous decision. The only guys to beat Merab Dvalishvili have been Ricky Simone, Frankie Saenz. I don't really think he won that one, and then Darren Mima. A lot of very, very solid guys over there, and Ricky beat him as well. So on any given night, Ricky can definitely go out there and knock out Ray Borg, but Ray Borg, I don't believe has ever been knocked out in his MMA career. He's very, very strong, really good wrestling, really good cardio. He did get submitted by Demetrius Johnson, but come on, do you guys really see Ricky Bandejas getting a submission? No, I do not. But yeah, Ricky needs to go out there, keep the fight on the feet at range, does not gas out. That's the exact thing that happened to Cody Gibson, where he got gassed out, and he ended up getting taken down and pressured and ground pounded and lost that fight. Ricky needs his cardio to be on point, keep the fight at range, jab and 1-2, and that's the only way he's going to win. But come on, Ray Borg, his wrestling is way better than Ricky. His pressure is really good, his power is very solid as well. Even though he's going to have the height and reach disadvantages, Ray Borg still has the wrestling and the pressure and the volume. So I'm going to go another unanimous decision for Ray Borg right here in the Eagle FC Bantamweight division. Rizvan Kuniev and Anthony Hamilton in the Eagle FC Heavyweight division. No idea how this is for the belts. I still have no idea why. But Anthony Hamilton beat some decent guys, I would say. Jared Torgensen, Dylan Potter, and then Randy Zarza right there losing. Fights inside the UFC, and then Vladimir Dynenko. I don't know why Vladimir isn't getting the title shot, because, you know, Vladimir beats Anthony Hamilton, so maybe they should give Vladimir Dynenko the title shot. I mean, he beat the guy that's about to fight for the belt, and after that one, and before the fight with, I mean, maybe that's why, because he did lose to Rizvan Kuniev back in 2020. They don't want to do a rematch, but still, if he already beat Anthony Hamilton by a first round knockout, why are they going to give Anthony Hamilton to Rizvan Kuniev if Vladimir, the guy that just knocked out Anthony Hamilton, has lost to Rizvan Kuniev? I mean, the whole situation here is very, very weird. I mean, it's going to be an easy prediction for me to make. Rizvan Kuniev, he's 11-2-1 in his MMA career. He's beaten some really, really solid guys, beating Eddie Von Santos on the Contender Series, Vladimir Dynenko in Eagle FC, and getting a lot of other very, very solid wins, only losing to Darko Stosic, I believe he's a KSW fighter right now, and then Justin Willis, a former UFC fighter. Very easy prediction. I don't really have to go into anything. He's 40 years old. He's old. He's 42 years old. He's old. I can say that all day. Rizvan Kuniev by knockout in the first or second round. Kevin Lee and Diego Sanchez in the super lightweight division. Kevin Lee with 18 wins and 7 losses. He's 29 years old. He's going to be a little bit lengthier by 5 full inches and be a little bit less in terms of height to Diego Sanchez. But we already know what should happen here. Kevin Lee should beat him pretty much everywhere the fight goes. Whether you're talking wrestling, whether you're talking grappling, whether you're talking striking, kickboxing, it does not matter. Wherever the fight goes, Kevin Lee will have the advantage. He's only lost to title challengers, title holders, like Danny Rodriguez, almost a ranked fighter in the welterweight division, Charles Oliveira, the UFC lightweight champion, Javi Dos Anjos, former UFC lightweight champion, Ally Quinta, former UFC lightweight title contender. He beat Gregor Gillespie by knockout right there. He lost to Tony Ferguson, I believe the title holder, Leonardo Santos, top 15 fighter, Ally Quinta, former title challenger. Again, he's lost to very, very legit guys. And fighting Danny Rodriguez and having that fight, the odds be really, really 50-50 in that one. Actually having Kevin Lee as the favorite over Danny Rodriguez, and just right after that fight to have him fighting Diego Sanchez. I don't know. It's not a good look for the Eagle FC in my opinion. I think this one should be a pretty easy prediction, as Kevin Lee is going to be the better fighter everywhere the fight goes. And Diego Sanchez coming off that decision loss to Michael Chiesa and the decision loss to Jake Matthews. I don't expect to finish. I mean, Diego didn't really, he's not really a guy that gets finished too often in his MMA career. I mean, every now and then, yeah. Like against Matt Brown, L.A. Quinta, Joe Lozon, all those guys, but still, I mean, Kevin Lee, he probably has a good shot at knocking him out if he wants to, but I don't know if he really wants to be quite honest, because at this point in his career, it'll look so bad if Diego Sanchez goes out there and gets knocked out in the first or second round, to be quite honest. It's only 3 rounds. If it was 5 rounds, I would go Kevin Lee by knockout, some head kick, front kick, body kick, something like that, but it's only 3 rounds. I see Kevin Lee outstriking Diego Sanchez, mixing in the takedowns and dominating to win the fight by a 30-26 unanimous decision. Weird fight in the, I would say, super lightweight division. And that is my full card prediction for Eagle FC 46, Lee versus Sanchez. I got Kevin Lee by a decision. I got Rizvan Kuniev by knockout. Ray Borg by a decision. Henderson Ferreira by knockout. Raimond Magomedaliev by a decision. Akhmed Aliev by a decision. I got Ikram Aliskerov. I got Irwin Rivera. Archie Colgan. I got Ronny Marks. I got Tyler Ray. Caio Uruguay. And then Manny Walo. In terms of underdogs, I think have very good shots of winning here. Ricky Bandejas got a really solid shot, and then Nah-shon Burrell also has a very solid shot. Maybe Reggie Peña as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a good fight card here. I think it's gonna be a solid one. A lot of UFC veterans on here, a lot of PFL veterans, a lot of Bellator veterans. It should be a good card. But those are my predictions for Eagle FC 46. Put your prediction down below in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go.